Thank you, Adil and Tarahum. So, in terms of content, I think both of you captured the content quite well. And in case of Adil, I think you need to work a bit more on the flow of delivery. Your presentation was moving in a halting manner. So,
Okay, sir.
and there has to be a proper, I gave the example of a picture in one of the classes. The presentation should have three distinct parts: the start, the body, and then finally the ending. So, in your case, the ending was a bit abrupt. So, make sure that you have these three distinct parts in your presentation. Start with the
Sure, sir.
intro, then develop the ideas, and then finally the concluding comment. And as far as Tarahum is concerned, he did a very good job in terms of capturing the content, and he was more natural also in his delivery. But now, next challenge, Tarahum, that you have is, can you present this entire text without the support of the written text? If you can do that, then you will be able to, remain connected with the audience also. So what happens is that
Okay.
if we refer to the written text more often than required, then there is a possibility that we may lose touch with the audience. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
these were the two things which I noted about
We'll
it.
work on it, sir.
Otherwise, both of you did a good job.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Now, coming to the uh, points which I was referring to, you have already covered the point of how to design the control systems. And I gave you the example of the university teacher because that is something about which I can talk more authentically. I have been involved in that process. And but when you will work in organizations, naturally each organization will have its own control points and will have its own the key result areas, KRAs as we call it. And I told you this thumb rule of 80-20. Generally in organizations, 20% of the activities result in 80% of the outcome. And this is something which we need to always keep in mind. And this couples with goes well with the idea we have discussed earlier also, ABC, always better control. If we start focusing on trivia, then uh, the the spirit is lost actually, and people feel as if you are not trusting them. I give you again a social example which you can all appreciate. Many of you have not worked in the organization, but you have been a part of society. One of my cousin was getting married, and she was. It was an arranged marriage, but they knew each other also. So the girl requested the family. Uh, Now we have got engaged. Can we know a bit more about each other? And will you allow us to move out together? So both the family allowed. Fine, fair enough. You can go out, know each other, and all that. But the girl's father just said one statement, made one statement. He did not say where you will go and what mode of transport you will take and all that. He said, my request is that by the time the sun sets, please come home. That's all. So that was the only, condition he put. Now, if we keep focusing on trivia, then what will happen? The chances are that, we may actually not promote that relationship of trust that the kids should have with their parents. So it is important to identify what will bring key result, isn't it? So you are setting the limits also when in a subtle way you have said by the time the sun sets, please come back home. So as I said to you earlier that it is value setting also, it is norm setting also. The norm that you are setting is that you have no problem if mature kids who are going to get married soon, they move out and try to know a bit more about each other. So you are setting a value, and but you are also setting the limits. So that is what we discussed earlier, that controls actually may be demoralizing. But when we have a desire to control in the form of setting values, this applies. I've given you examples from the family also again earlier. Suppose you say, okay, restrict the use of mobile 2 hours. Each day you will keep a record of the time that you spend with your mobile. So somebody can monitor very, very accurately. The father may even, jot down the time when the mobile would be given and when it would be taken back and all that. But again, you would notice that this kind of behavior actually promotes a defensive behavior. And often it is counterproductive. But if you set the larger goal, okay, you have 24 hours with you, how you wish to spend your time. And then in that larger context, you fix the time limit for various activities, including the use of mobile. That is value setting. And as I said, is something which promotes self-control. When the person himself is able to monitor the performance. There may be deviations here and there, but there will be autocorrection. There will be no need for an external, intervention in such a situation. That is what I was saying. That's the best system of control, which promotes self-control. Now, I have talked about. I have just briefly shown you the functional areas, control points, and like for example in marketing, one of the very important indicator of your performance in marketing could be the market share. So if you, let us say, are into mobile business and you have a particular market share, let us say you are a Samsung company and you have this particular share. And if this share goes up, so market share is a good indicator in the field of marketing. Likewise, in the field of production, it could be quantity, that is how much output you are able to get, and also the quality, number of defects that you have, the rejected items that you have. If a large number of your products are coming back as defective products from the market, that means there is a problem in the quality. Then at what cost you produce the items, per unit cost of the product, because that finally decides how much profitability ultimately you are going to have. So likewise, in every organization, if you just apply your logic, you can think that in my functional area where I would be finally working, like HR, for example, let us take HR. In an organization, for example, suppose we want to know about AMU and we want to know how students are rating the university. So one of the most important parameter for assessing the HR function is the level of satisfaction that various stakeholders have with the organization. So it could be teacher satisfaction, it could be student satisfaction, it could be satisfaction of the non-teaching staff of the university. So we can conduct satisfaction surveys, and that could be a good indicator. Then another good indicator is turnover. If from an organization, a significant, like for example, 20% of the people leave the organization each year. Now this is a very serious problem. That means sometimes in production-oriented organization, there is a phenomenon called absenteeism. Absenteeism is unauthorized absence. So if people miss the organization, miss working for the organization, when they get up in the morning and they don't feel like going to the organization for flimsy reasons, that means the organization is not doing well on some accounts in terms of especially HR function. So, and manpower cost could also be one of the indicator of. So in each organization, it would be very different. So once you join an organization, try to understand what really matters in the organization. What are the key result areas? And that can be used to assess the what should be controlled in the organization. And maybe for your own self, you can design your own control points. For example, now that would depend on your goals. So for example, a mature person is one who spends sufficient time on making a decent living, but he also spends good time on his social relations. He also wish to or should spend some time on his own learnings. And finally, all of us have a spiritual dimension of our personality. So Stephen Covey says that we should spend time on live, how to learn, how to love, and how to leave a legacy behind. The four L's, he puts it. Now, if you have these four L's and you have 24 hours in a day, or if you want to calculate it on a weekly basis, you can have your weekly calculation. That on each of these four dimensions, I will spend so much of time. And you can have your own control panel then. Each week, you can monitor how well you did on each of these four accounts. So you have your key result areas in terms of these four L's, and then you can monitor your own performance, how well you are doing on each of these accounts. Now let us come to the last functional area, and that is the financial controls. Generally in organizations, especially commercial organizations, financial controls are the key controls, and they can be used to gauge how well the organization is performing. You all know what are the key financial statements that are prepared in an organization. Do you have an idea by now? I will request non-commerce students to respond to this query, because commerce students, they already know from their graduation days. So what are the key financial statements that an organization has?
Balance sheet, sir.
Balance sheet, okay, very good. And
Profit and loss statement.
very good. So these are the two, most used financial statements which can be used or analyzed to assess the performance of an organization. Let us start with, and because these financial statements also later on become the basis of analyzing the financial position, which generally we use through ratio analysis. So general financial statements, then followed by ratio analysis. If we are able to understand the logic of each of these, we can analyze any organization. In fact, it would be my wish that when you join an organization for your summer training also, when you make that assessment, whether I should join this organization or not, these financial statements are part of the public domain. Analyze how well the organization is doing. In fact, make it a habit when you go to an organization for interview or for some screening and all that. Try to know a bit more about that organization before you go just like that. And carry out your analysis first. And you should have some intelligent questions with you, which would emerge out from that statement, financial statement analysis. And then you can have a very meaningful discussion on the organization, its financial health, its overall health, and how do you fit into that organization. So I was talking about the financial statements, and very rightly you pointed out that balance sheet is what is a very powerful statement. What is the logic of balance sheet? How it is prepared? You know the equation on which the balance sheet is based? Again, I am asking non-commerce students.
Yes, sir.
Kanishka?
Asset is equal to cost plus liability.
Assets is equal to capital plus?
Capital plus liability.
Okay. Now, in simple terms, for example, if I want to start a business, and the requirement of starting the business is 100 rupees. What should I have? I should have all the 100 rupees with me. Or should I have, if I don't have 100 rupees, what are the other options? I can ask somebody to join in my business as partner. So I say, okay, 50 rupees I will contribute, 50 rupees you contribute, and we become equal partners. Now that becomes a capital, isn't it? Because we have invested 100 rupees of our own in the business. So our assets will match the capital. But suppose I say, okay, 50% I will contribute and 50% I will borrow. That becomes my liability, isn't it? So if I create an asset of 100 rupees, actually 50% of it is in the form of debt. And the implication of debt is that it becomes an expense, because you have to, whether your company does well or does not do well, or your work starts or does not start, in any case you will have to make the payment of interest when it falls due. So there are implications, and we have firms which are highly leveraged, and they borrow a lot. Maybe they are confident that they will be able to earn decent sum out of the borrowed money, and payment of interest would not be a problem. But again, assets could also be of two types. They could be short-term assets or they could be long-term assets. You all know about current assets and fixed assets, isn't it? So current assets are, what are current assets?
So that
cash.
keeps changing,
Pardon?
like cash.
Yes.
So that keeps changing, like cash balance, that balance, and stocks. Please continue.
So anything that can be quickly converted into cash. So naturally, bank, if you have some deposits, if you have some cash in the bank, that is the most liquid asset that you have. You can just go and take it out from the bank, although it is not that simple now. So cash, then if you have some inventory which can be sold. So this also is a liquid asset, but not that liquid as cash in bank or cash in hand. But it can be converted into cash in a short period of time. So there are some assets which are liquid. They can be easily converted into cash. And many of the ratios actually use this as a point to measure how well the organization is performing. We will come to these ratios. So you have the basic idea of what a balance sheet is. It gives you the state of a particular organization on a particular date. As on 31st March 2021, this is the status of the organization in terms of its assets and in terms of its liabilities. In traditional parlance, we call even capital as liability. Why? Why capital is also a liability? If I have invested 50 rupees of my own in a business of 100 rupees, why? My capital is also a liability?
because of business entity concept.
Very true, very good. We have the concept of business entity. I am a different person now, and my company is a different company. It has a separate entity, existence of its own. So the capital which I have invested actually is a liability on that company. Isn't it? So these are the two core ideas: understand assets and understand liabilities of the business. Now the income statement or the profit loss account. Again, it is based on the simple equation: profits are equal to revenue minus what?
Expense.
Expense. So we deduct our expenses from the revenue that we have had, and then we get our profits. So many of the ratios actually have been, developed using these financial statements. Sometimes, one financial statement is used, sometimes both the financial statements are used. So I will be sharing with you some of these now through a PowerPoint slide, and let me open this. Can you see now? Is the slide visible? Okay. So I was talking about ratio analysis. So one of the important ratio that we have is what we call the profitability ratio. There are various profitability ratios. For example, if I make a sale of 100 rupees, and I earn 10 rupees out of it. You also make a sale of 100 rupees, but you earn 20 rupees, isn't it? So that could also be an indicator of the profitability. But generally in organizations, return on investment is used as a indicator of how well the organization is performing as far as its ability to earn the profits is concerned. So I have made an investment of 100 rupees, whether borrowed or my own, and I earn 10 rupees out of it. That's my return on investment. But suppose you also have invested 100 rupees and you earn 18 rupees out of it. Generally, any return on investment above 10% is considered to be a good return on investment. So if you have assets of 100 rupees and you earn 15 rupees out of it, or 18 rupees out of it, or 20 rupees out of it, that would be considered as a good profitability. But it has its flip side also. Suppose you use your assets and you earn 30% out of it. Is it a good indicator? We are going higher and higher now in terms of utilizing our assets. What do you think? If ROI is, let us say, 25% or 30%, is it a good indicator? You are right in some ways, but let me share with you a very, very heart-wrenching disaster of our country. Even now that case is not yet settled. Bhopal gas tragedy. You all know it? Have you heard of it? There was a plant of Union Carbide, and one fine morning, harmful gases leaked out of it, and around 10,000 people in the vicinity suffered because of that. And one of my professor in Ahmedabad, when he was analyzing that tragedy, he gave me this insight, and he said the tragedy occurred because of Union Carbide's unwritten policy of having 30% return on investment. They want to squeeze out their assets like anything. And in the process, they compromised on technological upgradation. They compromised on preventive maintenance. They compromised on all safety investments which are required for running that organization. So it is fine if you use your assets productively, but if you squeeze them out in such a manner that ultimately the golden principle is, we don't kill the hen that lays the golden egg, isn't it? So yes, return on investment is fine, but make sure that we don't become too obsessed with it, lest we start overusing our assets to the extent that we actually then lose those assets, and which might be actually very harmful. So you have to look at, I mean, when you carry out, that's the important, or that's the difference between a financial expert and a management expert. A management expert will always have a look at the larger picture. Financial statement analysis could be the base, but it is not the limit of performance analysis. Now let us move on to the next. I think this I've already discussed with you, financial controls and financial statements. Now let us come to this ratio, liquidity. You know it? What is liquidity? So one of the most popular liquidity ratio is current ratio. So if you have some current assets and if you have the current liabilities, if you can match your current assets and current liabilities, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल आपको अपने सप्लायर्स को कुछ पैसा देना है, आपने कहीं से रॉ मटेरियल खरीदा है और आपने मार्केट में उससे प्रोडक्ट बना के बेचा है और मार्केट से वो पैसा आना है, तो आप अब उस पैसे से जितना पैसा आना है और जितना पैसा आपको देना है, अगर उसमें एक प्रोपोर्शन है तो आप लिक्विड हैं. So this refers to the short term actually solvency of the firm. अब इसमें बहुत से लोग और भी जैसे क्विक रेशियो की भी बात करते हैं, उसमें सिर्फ करंट एसेट्स वो कैश को मानते हैं कि आपके पास इतना कैश होना चाहिए जिससे आपकी करंट लायबिलिटीज मीट हो जाए. So that is a finer analysis of liquidity. So, but generally the current ratio is used to assess how liquid you are. फिर एक और रेशियो एनालिसिस, कैटेगरी ऑफ रेशियो एनालिसिस है जिसको हम एक्टिविटी रेशियोज कहते हैं, और इसमें जो मोस्ट पॉपुलर रेशियो है वो इन्वेंट्री टर्नओवर. यानी आपने माल बनाया, आपने 10 रुपए का सामान बनाया, वो आपकी इन्वेंट्री है, जो फिनिश गुड्स हैं. उसमें से आपने 5 यूनिट्स बेची, 10 यूनिट्स बनाए, 5 यूनिट्स आपके बिक गए एक पर्टिकुलर टाइम पीरियड, जो भी आपका ऑपरेटिंग साइकिल. अब अगर आप 10 की 10 बेच दें वो यूनिट्स, तो आपका इन्वेंट्री टर्नओवर इंप्रूव हो जाएगा. तो यानी अच्छा, फिर एक इसमें एक और भी डायमेंशन है कि आपके कुछ फिनिश गुड्स होंगे, कुछ आपके वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस होगा, कुछ आपका रॉ मटेरियल की फॉर्म में होगा. इन्वेंट्री तो 3 तरह की होती है, एक तो फिनिश गुड्स हो गया आपके, एक आपके वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस हो गया, और एक आपकी रॉ मटेरियल की शक्ल में. तो अगर आपके पास बहुत ज्यादा रॉ मटेरियल पड़ा हुआ है, आपने माल तो खरीद लिया ज्यादा और सेल आपकी हो नहीं रही है, जैसे मैंने आपको एक सिचुएशन बताई थी हेनरी फोर्ड की, कि माल तो बन रहा था, सेल नहीं हो रही थी, एंड ह्यूज पाइल ऑफ कार्स वाज स्टॉक्ड इन द डॉक ऑफ द कंपनी, in the dockyard of the company. तो यानी आपका इन्वेंट्री टर्नओवर नहीं हो रहा. तो every organization tries to have a balance between sales and inventory. ऐसा ना हो जाए कि इन्वेंट्री आपकी इतनी ज्यादा हो जाए और सेल्स उसकी करस्पॉन्डिंगली ना हो. You should be able to quickly convert your inventory into the sale. That indicates your activity ratio. And last is category of ratio is what we call the leverage, which is your, जैसे मैंने आपसे कहा कि आप 50 रुपए दूसरे के लगा सकते हैं, लेकिन उसका इम्प्लीकेशन क्या होगा? इम्प्लीकेशन ये होगा कि वो फिर एक्सपेंस हो जाएगा, क्योंकि इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट तो एक एक्सपेंस हेड है। तो अगर आपके डेट्स बहुत ज्यादा हैं इन द टोटल एसेट्स, इट इंडिकेट्स आपका एक एक्सपेंस हेड है जो बहुत मेजर, विच विल इम्पैक्ट योर प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी। और आप जानते हैं कि आइडियल जो डेट इक्विटी रेशियो भी इसमें कैलकुलेट करते हैं लोग। एक लीवरेज का इंडिकेटर जो है वो डेट इक्विटी रेशियो भी। अब उसमें जावेद साहब ने आपको पढ़ाया होगा कि भाई 1:2 का रेशियो मेंटेन करना, बट दैट अगेन इज नॉट ए सैक्रोसैंक्ट। द बेसिक आइडिया इज, जिसको हम लोग अपने हिंदुस्तानी भाषा में कहते हैं कि भाई उतने पैर पसारिए जितनी चादर हो। Some organizations are conservative on that account and they say कि हम अपनी रिटेन अर्निंग से हल्के हल्के बढ़ेंगे, हमारी स्लो एंड स्टीडी ग्रोथ होगी। लेकिन कुछ लोग कहते हैं कि नहीं, हम बाहर से पैसा लेंगे क्योंकि वी हैव कॉन्फिडेंस इन आवर मैनेजमेंट एबिलिटी। लेकिन मान लीजिए पैंडेमिक टाइप की सिचुएशन आ जाए, जैसे आपके आ गई है, सेल ही नहीं हो रही है, आपने इतना इन्वेस्टमेंट करके बैठ गए, तो जो आपका सप्लायर ऑफ डेट है वो तो कहेगा एक पर्टिकुलर टाइम के बाद कि भाई मुझे पैसा दीजिए। कहाँ से देंगे जब आपकी एक्टिविटी नहीं हो रही? सो ऑल दीज आर ratios which are good starting point for analyzing the organization and how well it is doing. तो एक तो ये है कि ओवर ए पीरियड ऑफ टाइम कैसा कर रही है ये। फिर दूसरा ये कि इट प्रोवाइड्स ए कंपैरिजन पॉइंट विद द इंडस्ट्री एवरेजेस। हर इंडस्ट्री का एक अपना एवरेज होता है, आप उससे कंपेयर करके ये भी देख सकते हैं कि बेंचमार्किंग कर सकते हैं कि एम आई डूइंग वेल in terms of industry average. So my request to all of you would be, please make it a habit to analyze the balance sheets of the organization. It will help you understand the working of the organization. तो मैं आप लोगों से ये रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा था कि आज फॉर्मली हम लोग की आज लास्ट क्लास है, लेकिन एक मैं एक्स्ट्रा क्लास लेना चाहता हूँ विच शुड बी ए स्लाइटली लॉन्गर क्लास, जिसमें वी विल गिव अपॉर्चुनिटी टू ऑल दोज हु हैव नॉट येट प्रेजेंटेड। और इस यूनिट का भी वो होगा, एक रिकैप एनालिसिस होगा। तो विल सैटरडे सूट यू?
So Saturday, what time?
9 a.m. 9 to 11, let us say. कब से कब तक है वो? हाँ, तो हम 10:45 पे शुरू कर सकते हैं।
Sir, we have a different class from 11:15 to 1.
वो कौन सी की क्लास है?
Spreadsheet modeling, and that is likely to be taken by Asif Akhtar sir for QTM, quantitative technique methods.
अच्छा, और फ्राइडे का क्या शेड्यूल है आपका? कल अच्छा, देखिए ऐसा है, अब आप उनमें से 2 लोग जिम्मेदारी इसकी ले लें अभी, कि वो प्रपोज कर देंगे उसके व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप पे हमें कि इस दिन हम क्लास ले सकते हैं। ओके, बट प्रीफरेबली इट शुड बी बिफोर सैटरडे। ओके, एंड दैट डे वी विल हैव ऑल द So please coordinate with the Reem ma'am and on the WhatsApp group. Kanishka, you can please suggest after consulting your friends or looking at the timetable that you already have, and then suggest when can we have a minimum of 1.1.5 hour class. So as a kind of winding up class for this. Okay. Thank you.